Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Brothers-in-law. Uh, got a good show lined up for you tonight. We're doing something a little different. Normally, we have a video we break down and give our analysis on. But tonight, we're going to be discussing uh, basic laws that some people, are unaware of that you may just have forgotten about. So we going to this won't be probably our normal hour long show tonight, but we just kind of want to educate people, encourage people to uh, while you just sitting around doing nothing, waiting on the doctor's appointment or whatever, and scrolling through your phone, just Google search, your local laws and go through them and make yourself aware of your laws in your community, because it makes you aware, it makes you uh, prepared when you go out, so you do not get stopped by the police. And then when they tell you why you're stopped, and you're not shocked or uh, highly upset because this is a bull crap charge, whatever. No, actually, it's on the law books. You gotta take the time and look at it, and as we all should. I mean, we're supposed to, as citizens, so we stay in compliance with the law. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is your first time checking this out. My name is Corey. I'm a former Virginia State police officer and a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. And my co-host is Mr. Mike Bradley.
What's going on? Good to be back. I'm Mike Bradley. I'm a retired 26-year law enforcement police officer in Northern California for 26 years, and also a 6-year Army veteran. We got a good one lined up for you today. Like Corey was saying, these are some things that might surprise you that are on the books, that you might not have known about. You know what I'm saying? So this is something a little different today, like Corey was saying, just to throw a little wrench in your plans, So we're going to talk about a good one.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not lawyers. We're not going to give you any legal advice or anything of that nature. We're just telling you, make you aware of some of the things that are out there. A lot of what Mike has pulled up, I checked with our laws here, and some of them are compatible, so they're not too far off. So it may be the same in your state where you're from as well. But before we get into it, like I said, if this is your first time watching us, man, please go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hey, Tone. Hey, Jesus love you. We missed you, bro. We know you working, grinding out there, but thank you for joining us, Tone, Goat, Stacy, and those who are watching on Facebook. Also, too, if you haven't got a chance to head on over to our merch shop at Spreadshop, our brothers-in-law. .myspreadshop.com. Head on over and help support our channel. You can get a nice little hoodie like this. Is Brother-in-Law Podcast. Mike got our mug shots on there. Also, too, got these brand new coffee mugs out. Says Brother-in-Law Podcast with our mug shots on it. And then on the other side, it's got our acronym of, I hope you can see it, of Stay Calm, comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. They come in a variety of different colors, a blue handle, black handle, red handle. The inside is blue. Also got some really nice coffee mugs here again. Really good with the acronym. And I'm sorry it's hard to see it because I got the light shining on it, but it has the acronym of Stay Calm on it. So head on over to the shop, help support the channel, help get the message out. Stay Calm, it stands for comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. Without further ado, Mike, take it away.
All right, we got a good one. This is a list of let me set it up here real quick. What's going on? There. This is a list real quick of some California vehicle codes that you might not be aware of that are on the books. And again, like Corey was saying, check your local laws in your state for your vehicle code or whatever they call it in your state, and look at some of these laws These are specifically California that I'm gonna go over here. And if you got any questions about them, feel free to ask. Some of the definitions that I wrote down, I prepared this myself. So some of these definitions are not verbatim. They're just generally showing you what that law is about. You can easily go to this California Vehicle Code yourself and look at the section and pull it up and look at it word for word, or in your city, what your vehicle code would be. But these are just some laws. Tone, some of these might surprise you. But here we go. Let's look at the first one. Okay. The first one is California Vehicle Code 4454A. Registration card must be with your vehicle when you're driving. Okay. A lot of people don't know that. They think, is it okay to take my registration card out of my vehicle if I'm parked or if I'm in the house or something like that? Yeah, that's okay. This is when your vehicle is being driven. When police officers ask you for your registration card, you should be able to produce that. So 4454A talks about having your registration card with your vehicle. It should be with your vehicle. Okay. That's one that some people tend to forget. It's not enough to have current registration on your car. The card actually still has to be with the vehicle. So you see it all the time, Corey. You stop on the street and they say, let me see registration. And they look for it, right? And then all of a sudden they can't find it. And you say, well, keep looking. And they always sort of comment of, well, my registration is current, officer. You can check it in the system and see that it's current. Okay. Well, that's beside the point. The point is the registration card has to be with your vehicle in addition to it being current. Yeah, I can check it in the system and make sure it's current, but I also need to make sure that you have it in possession. Okay. That's something that people don't know.
Well, and I think on top of that, Mike, know where it is in your vehicle. I know a lot of times when I used to conduct traffic stops and I asked for the registration, people are fumbling around because they don't know where they put it. Always keep ours in the DMV envelope that it came in, and I put the insurance cards in there as well. And it's always in my wife's vehicle, it's in the center console, but in my vehicle, I keep it in the glove compartment. So know where they are, so you know right where to go to. Just saves time while on the side of the road.
Okay. Number two. Now, this is a different one because you see a lot of disabled placards on people's cars, right? California Vehicle Code 4461. A disabled placard shall only be used by the person it was issued. So it's not enough for you to have a placard in your car and then it's not issued to anybody in the car, but you are steadily using that placard and parking in the disabled parking space when you shouldn't be doing that. So that is actually a crime. You have to have that placard needs to be registered to you, or the person it's issued to is in the car with you. Okay, so you using it for them. Okay, a lot of people get mixed up on that, Corey.
Yeah. I unfortunately I didn't deal with a lot of that, but I could see that everybody it passes around, but you don't want to do that. You take it away from the people who actually need those parking spots. So just be mindful of that. That's another reason for you not to get pulled over by the police. Don't do it.
One of the things I used to catch all the time, like at the malls and stuff like that, is motorcycles will park in the hashed out area of the disabled parking space. That's actually illegal too. That's parking in the handicapped space as a motorcycle. So you can issue a handicap parking ticket to a motorcycle parked in that hashed out area of a disabled parking space. That hashed out area is for disabled people to use their wheelchairs to maneuver any equipment they have out of their vehicle or something like that. That's usually what that's for. Okay.
Yeah, not for motorcycles.
Right. And now the next one. California Vehicle Code 4462 cannot display a license plate registration card that's not issued to that vehicle. So what you'll see is you'll see officers running plates, and it's common sometimes somebody might have the wrong plate on the wrong car. That's a reason to stop you. Okay. You should not display a license plate or a registration card that's not issued to that vehicle. Do you see that a lot on the highway, Corey?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And what's going to happen is we're going to pull that license plate and we're going to tow the vehicle. All right, because that license plate does not match that vehicle. And even though because the vehicle could be stolen or the license plate could be stolen, we're going to confiscate that license plate and we're going to tow that vehicle. And even though you may not be the owner of that car, if you're operating, that car is not driving anymore. It's, like I say, it's going to be towed, and you're going to be the one to get the tickets for that. Because I think a lot of people also don't know too, Mike, when you borrow your friend's car, you're ultimately responsible for everything of that vehicle because you're driving it on the road. So if the tail light is out, the headlight is out, you got a dangling object from the mirror, you get stopped by the police, that ticket goes to you. You can tell me, well, this is not my car, it's my friend's car. Well, you're operating a vehicle, so you're going to get the ticket. You might want to talk to your friend about it, and maybe they'll pay it for you. But that ticket is going to you, the operator of that vehicle.
Now, see, that's interesting because out here in California, we actually have a section on the ticket that says, like, if you happen to be driving somebody else's vehicle, but you're not the registered owner of the vehicle, if it's a mechanical violation, there's a section on our citation that we write in the registered owner information, and we say owner's responsibility in the section where you assigned it. We still issue the ticket to the person driving, okay? But if it's not their car and they're not the registered owner, we would put in that space where they sign, we would write in owner's responsibility, okay? So you still get a ticket, but it ultimately would be the registered owner's responsibility to fix the mechanical violation.
Good deal. We don't do that here.
No.
No. And it's the same thing if you're driving a company vehicle. That ticket's going to you. You might take it back to your boss and have your boss pay it.
Yeah.
That's how it rolls. Good old Commonwealth, man.
All right. All right, on to the next one. California Vehicle Section 4463 alters or forges, counterfeits, or falsifies a registration card, license plate, or if you are in possession of a counterfeit disabled placard, okay, those are all crimes. You can't, if you try to show a registration card that's counterfeit or forged, or if you present a driver's license that's counterfeit or forged, that's a crime. Okay. So keep that in mind. Those young people out there who want to, what we used to do, Corey, back in the day, to get into clubs, you use somebody else's driver's license. Right.
Right. You had a fake ID.
Fake ID or something like that.
Yeah.
If you are driving a car, okay, and you are in possession of that, or you try to present that or something, that section talks about all of those things. So keep in mind, folks, these are common sections of the California Vehicle Code that you can look up yourself and you can read yourself. Okay.
Along with that, keep in mind, anytime you come across these type of things, those license plates, those registration cards, all those things would be confiscated because they have to be turned back into, well, we would turn them back into DMV because that plate has to be taken out of the system or whatever they do with it at DMV. So it's going to be confiscated. The vehicle probably will get towed, not probably, it should get towed, and it will be taken off the road. And then you deal with it in court and deal with it through your Department of Motor Vehicles.
Okay. Now, this next one is specifically for state of California, but I understand not every state requires this. But in the state of California, section 5200 of the California Vehicle Code, every vehicle, if you're issued two license plates to the vehicle, basically, you have to display both license plates. You have to have a plate on the front and a plate on the back. Okay, that's California. I understand every state ain't like that. Okay,
Yeah, it's like that here.
is it like that? Okay,
Yeah, you gotta
all right.
have front and back license plates displayed.
Okay, and that's common. You know where you see that commonly a violation of that, it would be on Teslas. Teslas, I see countless Teslas that
Yeah,
only have the rear license plate. But
yeah.
that section, and check your local laws. But that section for California talks about you have to have two plates on the vehicle. Okay, if it's registered, and you have two plates issued to the vehicle, you have to display both those plates.
Oh wow. Yeah, I agree. Jesus Levy. It seems like some of these, like I said in the opening statement, are pretty common. They're pretty broad across the country. May just the language may be a little different, but as I travel, um, and I often see like a lot of vehicles on the road in different states have the front and rear license plates. So again, it's one of those ones that can be pretty common. I do still see vehicles, Mike, around here that only just had the rear license plate.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a spot for the front license plate, then you have to stick it in the front windshield. That's fine. It has to be visible. And same with the rear. If for whatever reason you're missing the screw for your rear license plate, well, make sure it's in the window and it's visible that it can be seen.
Yeah, that's interesting because out here in California, if you look at that section and you go encourage our viewers to look at that in detail, you also have to have your license plate securely fastened to your vehicle, both front and back. And they even go as far as to say you can only have your license plate, it has to be so many inches above the ground. Okay, and the lettering has to be right. It's got to be a standard issue license plate. It can't be how you buy those plates that say something fancy or something from the store. You can't have those and without a license plate. Okay, you have to have a license plate, and it has to be put on your vehicle so that it doesn't swing. It's got to be securely attached, clearly visible, a certain amount of distance from the ground up. Okay, so check your local laws and just make sure you are in compliance. That's all.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Now here's a one. This is actually a common stop at nighttime that we used to get because people tend to get relaxed on this. Section 5201. License plate must be. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We already hit that one. This is section 24601. License plate lamp making the plate clearly legible 50 feet to the rear of the car. Okay. So that's that famous section. Okay. That everybody looks at and say, man, that's peddly. That's piddly. That ain't no big deal. But it is a law out here in California. You got to have a license plate lamp separate from the tail lamp.
Yep.
Okay, this is the actual light that illuminates the license
plate. Yep.
50 feet to the rear.
Yep.
We used to get stopped on that all the time.
Oh yeah, and again, these are reasons or probable cause for the police to stop you. So remember, I know we all get complacent and we don't look at our headlights and look at our taillights before we get in our cars to go. Why? Because we're always in such a rush, right? We have our everyday lives that we go and live. But it is our responsibility to make sure everything is working properly when we go out on the roads. And you will never know that your tail light or license plate light is out until it's nighttime and you get stopped because you just typically don't pay attention to these things.
And again, it's not a big deal, but It's something
No,
that is law, you know.
but it is law, and yes, you can get an equipment violation, what we would call. I would typically write that as defective equipment, right? It doesn't go against your points against your license. It's just an equipment violation, uh, a penalty. You don't even have to pay. Get it fixed. Bring the receipt to court that you got it fixed. Show the judge it was fixed. It gets dismissed, right? That's how typically how equipment violations go here in Virginia. Now, where you're from, you might want to, talk to, a lawyer about how those things work in your court of law. But based on my experience and having written a lot of equipment violations, you get that piece of equipment fixed, bring the receipt to the court, the judges will dismiss it unless you got other things stacked up on with that. But if it's just that one offense, uh, I'm pretty confident here in the state of Virginia, it's going to get dismissed. And
Jesus Love You says he doesn't get the 2 license plate thing. I can get it. Jesus Love You. If look at it this way, if I am running plates, I might only see the front of your vehicle and can't see the back of your vehicle. So I need to see the plate, whether it's on the front or the back. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just a matter of being clearly visible and accessible. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody might be, you might not be able to see the back of the car, or you might only be able to see the back of the car, and maybe they don't have a plate, they got a plate on the front. You know what I'm saying? Now it's required to have them both in the front and the back, but there could be circumstances where your vehicle is positioned in a way that I may only be able to see the front. You know what I'm saying? So in California, you do have to have both front and back. So check your local laws. All right. How many people think that having a valid license to drive is all you need? In California, you not only have to have a valid license, obviously, you also have to have that license in your possession. So California Vehicle Code 12951 talks about having your license in your possession when you're driving. So as when you're driving, you can actually get a ticket if you don't have your license in possession. Your license might be valid, okay? But when I ask you as a police officer, when I ask you, let me see your license, registration, and insurance, you got to provide all 3 of those things in California. If you are not able to provide a license, you always get my license is valid, officer. You can check it in the system. That's beside the point. You have to have a license in possession too. The reason being, if you get into a crash, you got to provide your license as part of the information to exchange with the other party. How does the other party know that you even have a valid license or even able to drive? You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, so you got to have your license in possession. You got any issues with that, Corey?
No, it is important to have. I mean, that is another common summons that I would write. You may be valid, but you got to have it in your possession. Now, here in Virginia, it is not required to show your proof of insurance when you're stopped on just a regular traffic violation. But however, you need to have it if you're involved in an accident. Now, I don't know if the law has changed yet, and this is something definitely you might want to check in your state. As far as insurance goes, I know a lot of people now have their insurance cards on their cell phones. At one point, that was not acceptable. You had to have the hard copy presented if you were exchanging information like that. But I know I have accepted that as long as the only reason I would accept is if the individual was actually on the phone with their insurance company at the time of the crash, and a lot of times I would get on the phone and talk to their insurance, and just validate that the insurance was um, up to date, and would accept it on the phone. But it's always good prices to keep the hard copy in your vehicle. But again, check with your local laws too, because if they don't, then you'll likely get another proper insurance or showing proof of insurance. Sorry.
That's interesting. So check with your local laws. Out here in California, it's required for you to not only have your license, but you have to have your vehicle registration and your insurance, proof of current insurance. So if you're out here in California, if your insurance is expired, or if you show a card that shows expired insurance, you can get a ticket for that. You gotta show proof of current insurance when you get pulled over by the police.
And another point too, Mike, when you're traveling as well, make sure you are aware of the states that you're traveling through, what some of their basic laws are, highway laws are, because every state's laws are not the same. What you can do in your home state, you can't do in another.
True.
All right. So just make sure, as you're traveling, especially, we're getting into the summer and warmer weather and everybody's starting to hit the roads again. Just make sure what the states that you're going through, what some of their laws are, so that you don't get stopped for something stupid that you could have prevented.
Yeah. That could easily be changed or whatever, Here's a bicycle one that I think, Corey, a lot of people get confused about this. California section 21650.1. It talks about operating a bicycle in the same direction as the flow of traffic. So could you get pulled over for riding on a roadway against the flow of traffic? Okay, where the cars are coming at you? Yeah. Okay, you have to ride a bicycle in the same direction that the cars are going. Okay, is that how that works out there, Corey?
Yeah, you got to go with the flow of traffic, and that's a good point, because about 2 weeks ago, one of the videos that we did, that was reason for the stop, because I believe in Ohio you can't ride your bicycle on a sidewalk.
I remember that.
Unless you're of a certain age. And I think if I remember correctly, it was like 12 and under, or maybe 14 and under in Ohio, that you're allowed to ride your vehicle on a sidewalk. And so it's interesting. So yeah, you have to bicycles have to obey the rules of the road. So you're required to stop at the stop signs, use proper hand signals to turn, and ride with the flow of traffic. Now, they used to say years ago, remember, I think we were always taught to ride against the flow of traffic. But I guess since then, because at least the oncoming vehicle will be able to see you, but not so case now. You got to follow the rules of the road.
Yeah. All right. Now here's a unpopular one. California vehicle code section 21955. Jaywalking. What is jaywalking? Jaywalking is when you are crossing the street between adjacent intersections that are controlled by signals or police officers. You know what I'm saying? If you got somebody direct traffic out there. That's basically what jaywalking is. Crossing the street outside of crosswalk between two controlled intersections. Okay. So if you have an intersection right here, but you decide to cross the street where there is no pedestrian crosswalk or no means for you to cross that location, that's jaywalking. Okay. And that gets confused all the time, Corey.
Yeah. I didn't deal with that. Again, I mostly was up on the interstate. But on the interstate, obviously, there's no pedestrians on the interstate. but we get a lot of people off the interstate for hitchhiking. But that's a little bit different. I think you have something on there about hitchhiking.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, we do. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, you can't do
Matter
it.
of fact, it's the next one.
Go ahead.
The next one it talks about hitchhiking. So check these on your own too, folks. You can go to these sections and read them yourself. But this is California section 21957 of the vehicle code. You cannot stand in a roadway for purpose of hitchhiking. Okay, so that talks about hitchhiking right there. You can't do it.
Yeah,
Did you
it's
see a
not
lot of
safe.
people hitchhiking on the highway?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and it they had one guy get hit one time, and it's not safe. Don't do it. I know a lot of people. If you run out of gas, um, they'll try to walk to the next exit up and try to get. Don't do it. Uh, Here, if you just hit, call the state police here. They'll get um, roadside assist, or we call smart traffic or VDOT. They'll come out and assist you if you need a tire changed, or if you need gas, they'll give you a gallon of gas to make it to the next exit. Don't get out of your car and try to walk off the exit. Just call. It's pound 77 here, Virginia. I don't know what it is, but you should know what it is in your area to get a hold of state police, or obviously call 911 to get a hold of them if you need assistance, if you're stuck out on there on the highway. But yeah, don't get out on the interstate and start walking, because I tell you, people do not pay attention to you. I can tell you a lot of stories about how I almost got hit and sideswiped on the side road, and I'm well lit up with lights on the side of the road, and I still almost get hit. So you can just imagine how it is if you're trying to walk, on the side of the shoulder there on the interstate. People aren't paying attention to you, and you know how these people drive out here, y'all. So you know.
So here's one that surprised me. Well, I don't know if it surprised me, but it's one that I hadn't heard of. Okay, so this is California Vehicle Code Section 21964. It says no person unless blind shall carry or use on any highway, public building, public place a predominantly white cane, whether it has a red tip or not. You can't use a predominantly white cane. Now that's one of those laws, Corey, that
Wow.
you just don't think of. Like, okay, if you came across somebody with a completely white cane, an elderly person that wasn't blind, that was using a white cane on a public street or something, you ain't gonna stop that person for that. You know what
And
I'm saying?
that's one of them laws. Like, why in the world would you have a law like that? But that takes me back to my military days. Like, we have a safety manual, uh, and you're like, when we have incidents, or every quarter we have to do safety training. It's like, man,
Yeah.
why are we talking about something? Not sticking your finger in a light socket. Well, somebody has done it.
Somebody
that's,
do,
why,
right?
that's why we got to talk about it. That's why it's in the safety manual, so you don't do it. I'm guessing something had to happen with the blind person and using the cane to where the city had to come up, or I don't know if it's a state law or whatever, had to come up with some type of ordinance saying that, yo, if you unless you are blind, if you're gonna walk with a white cane, it's got to have a red tip on it.
Well, yeah, when you go to this section, it does talk about, in California, it does talk about vehicles having to yield to pedestrians who are blind. And if you're blind and you're walking on a city street, the identifiable thing that you would have is a white cane with a red tip. So that's why that was in the spirit of where that came from. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But still, it's one of those sections that you never think about, never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd like to know how many times, or what the numbers were for that. How many times that ticket has been written. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the dangling object in your rearview mirror. That is illegal here. It used to be a primary offense, and now I think it's a secondary offense now. Um, and I'm like, if it's something small like an air freshener, I didn't care, right? But if
Yeah.
you had like a big, huge medallion, if it really obstructed your view, then all right, yeah, I'm gonna get you. But like an air freshener or a little something, your tassel, whatever, from when you graduated high school, college, I didn't care about those. That's one of them things. And I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I wrote those, uh, and not often. But it is there, and these are things that we're talking about. If you're just joining us, just exploring some uncommon laws or laws that you should know, uh, and might have forgotten about. But the dangling object in the rearview mirror again. If you're out of state, it may be legal in your state, but in another state, it's not legal. All right. Again, so again, like I said a few minutes ago, as you're traveling, just be cautious of those states' laws and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the opposite of rear view mirror for me, like you said, Corey, it would clearly have to show that it's obstructing your vision out the front windshield for me to
yeah,
believe that. You know what I'm saying? Keyword obstruct your vision out the front. You know what I'm saying? Making it unsafe for you to drive. You know what I'm saying?
right. Hey, can we go back to the license plate real quick? Um,
Yeah.
Also, too, you don't have to scroll back to it, but I just want to
Oh,
make a statement real quick. Also, too, some of you may not be aware of too. When you move from state to state, check with the DMV and see what the time frame is for you to get your license plates changed over to that state. Right? If you're moving from within the state, 2 blocks over from where you are now, you got 30 days to update your driver's license and registration. If you're moving from out of state into Virginia, it's 60 days to get your registration changed over from your plate. If not, and you get stopped for speed or whatever, and I run your license plate and it's still showing another, but you telling me you live here in the state, and I ask you, well, how long have you been staying here? Well, we only been here, we've been here for about 7 months. Well, guess what? You just got yourself a ticket for improper registration on your vehicle. So make sure you're checking that out. Even if you're moving locally within your city limits, you still have to update your registration and everything. I know, again, life gets ahead of you. You forget little things like this. And that's why, we're kind of sharing a lot of this information with you, because often sometimes we forget some of these little things that, we can fix right away and not have to worry about getting stopped by the police.
and the next one is the section that we was talking about this not too long ago. I was telling Tone, I think, had made a comment on one of our, or I was letting Tone know about something that happened in California where this was the law. So California section, vehicle code section 21966, you shall not proceed along a pedestrian shall not proceed along a bike path or lane where there is an adjacent adequate pedestrian facility, basically a sidewalk. Okay, so this is that section I was pointing out to you, Tone. Pedestrians, if there's a sidewalk right next to you, you're supposed to use the sidewalk, not the bicycle path. Now, keep in mind, Tone, some of these California sections, it's a law, but it also says that officers shouldn't stop people for this unless they see a situation where a collision is about to happen or something that's very hazardous or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is on the book that you should not use a bike path or bike lane where there's an adjacent adequate pedestrian facility. that's one of those you don't think about though, Corey. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, how many times you see people walking in the bike lane? All the time. You know what I'm saying? But that is a law. It's on the books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Jesus love you. That's a good question. What if they lie and say they've been there for 2 weeks visiting, but they been there for 7 months? How would you know that they were lying to you? Well, I mean, you could probe a little more, ask a little more questions. Typically they don't know that it's against the law that they have to have their registration updated. There was a young lady, I think she was from Michigan, and she had moved down here, and I kept it as a general conversation. Oh yeah, hi, blah 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 blah, and we just talked. And then she openly told me. So it's all about the tactics on how you asking the questions to get the information you want, right? If I were like interrogating her, it probably gave her the opportunity to lie to me. But I kept it very cordial, like, and we're just having a conversation. Hey, how you doing? Oh, you're from Michigan. Well, I'm from Ohio. So I started talking about football, and then that's how I was able to get her to tell me how long she's actually really been here.
Yeah, I used to
And
run that.
and still here to that point, being that we're a military community here, so you gotta, all right, well, your tag's expired in Pennsylvania. You give me a Pennsylvania license, but I can tell you're in the military because you have a uniform in the back of your seat. Well, now let me see your military ID so that I can verify that you are still on active duty, and I'll give it right back. I just need to look at the date. I'm not running. I can't do anything with your life. I just need to make sure, yep, this is you. You're still on active duty because it has expired date on it. And let it go like that. Now, typically, if they're on active duty, we wouldn't write them. You can write them, but me being private military, fix your stuff because you got to have it right when you go on base anyway. So get it fixed. I'll give you a warning. And that's how we do. But it's all about the questioning. Jesus love you. You're right. They can't lie to you. And have they lied to me before? They probably have.
Yeah.
They probably have.
A telltale sign for me, Jesus loves you, is if I stop somebody with a, like, say, an Ohio plate, but they present a California license with a California address. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a red flag to me that how long you've been living in California. Well, I know you've been living in California as long as you've had this license. The date on the license say when it was issued, right? So I know that much. And if you driving with a California license and you have an Ohio license plate on your car, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
put two and two together and figured it out. But yeah,
Right.
that's something. All right, let's see. This is a common one. 21 California Vehicle Code Section 21970. Vehicle code or vehicle cannot block a crosswalk or a sidewalk. So you can't park a vehicle on the sidewalk. It can't be blocking the sidewalk in any way. Obviously, it can't block a crosswalk in any way. Okay. So for obvious reasons, pedestrians walk on the sidewalk, pedestrians walk on the crosswalk. Well, you can't impede them and cause them to have to go outside the crosswalk or sidewalk, and then they get hit by a car or something like that. So you can get a ticket for parking your car that's blocking a sidewalk or crosswalk.
Right. I think that's pretty common everywhere. You can't do that.
Right. All right. Now we're gonna get us some really interesting. We're almost finished, folks, but we're gonna get into some interesting California vehicle. This is a vehicle code section, believe it or not, folks. Vehicle code section 15620. Leaving a child 6 or under in a vehicle where there are conditions that present a significant risk to health or safety, or keys in the ignition or engine running, It's okay if you have a child that's 12 years or older in the vehicle with that child that's 6 or under. You're okay there. But if you leave a child that's 6 years old or under in the car by themselves under these conditions, that's a ticket. You can get actually you can get arrested for that. You know what I'm saying? But it is a crime to do that in California. I think that's across the state.
Yep.
I mean, across the country.
Yep. Yeah, that's a pretty common code section right there. Again, it's just maybe the language is a little different in each state, but again, check what your local laws are and find these out, so you don't get yourself caught in that type of situation.
Right. California section 27400. If you operate a motor vehicle or bicycle with earplugs or headset covering inserted in or resting in both ears, you can't drive your vehicle. You can't ride a bicycle with both ears covered with headphones or earplugs or anything else. Okay, a lot of people don't know that. That's one of those where you might be surprised. You do see some people, they'll have their headphones in, Corey. You know what I'm saying? Driving down the street because their radio ain't working or whatever reason. They have headphones in their ears listening to music while they're driving. So you can't have that.
I've honestly only written that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really got to be alert and attentive when you see it, and most time I'm going to catch it when I'm riding behind them, and then I would get onto the side of them and try to see if I can see if it's both ears on. So it's only one time that I've done, but most people today have just the one earbud in, which is fine, and it has the earbuds now that are so small you can't tell that they have them in the ears. So I mean, it is what it is. But it is against the law. You can't have headsets on while you're driving. Yes, we do the hands-free thing, but if one is in the ear, okay, not two, because you gotta be able to hear, emergency vehicles behind you or stuff like that if you don't see the lights. So that's a safety thing.
Yeah. And that's it. That was the last one. So again, folks, these are just random little, laws that I found on the books in California. This is specifically for California, but I think, like Corey said, this is probably pretty standard across the country. Just might be worded differently or might have some different sections or something. But check where you live. Look at your vehicle code for where you live. You can find the information on that on the internet, or go to DMV where you work or where you live, and they can provide you with a vehicle code, a book that has all those laws governing vehicles and pedestrians and stuff like that. So
there's a ton of information out there. There's a lot of laws out there.
Yeah,
we spent. Matter of fact, I don't know if you can see this, but this is I found my old binder, and these are just of some of the laws. This is not even a fraction of the laws that are out there. And you're not, as an officer, you're not going to know all the laws out there. That's why I have numerous check sheets and stuff in here of certain offenses that are most common, that you most commonly come across. And there's some really interesting ones in here. And I mean, I sometimes used to get amazed myself, like, they really got a law for that? That's a violation. Are you serious? Right? But they're out there. Anthony White, hey, welcome. His question is, he was wondering, Mike, if this applies to motor scooters as well. And he's talking about the earphones.
The earphones, yeah. You can't have, if it's written on the street, okay, you can't have both ears covered, basically. All right. That's California now. I don't know if it's like that in your state, okay, but it's like that in California. Now, California, there's a whole slew of laws that cover motorized scooters. and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't, we obviously don't have the time to go through everything. I just picked out some interesting ones, but check with your laws before you go out and buy that motor scooter, okay, motorized scooter or bicycle, and you want to ride it on the street or ride it around the roads in your neighborhood. Make sure you know the laws regarding stuff like that. A lot of people go out and buy these things, Corey, okay, and they don't understand whether it's legal to ride them on the street or not. A lot of stuff that's not legal to ride on the street, and a lot of stuff is. So you need to look at your state's laws and see what's what.
Yep. All right, folks, we're gonna wrap this up for tonight. We thank you all so much for joining us. If you like the content of this video, if you thought this was very informative for you, please leave us a comment below, and maybe we'll do another show like this. And if you have a particular question you would like for us to address, please drop it down in the comments below. And again, if you're new to this and you're just checking this out for the first time, you like the content, please, everybody, before you leave, hit that like button and give us a thumbs up. And we'll be back next week. There's another interesting video that's fresh out there on the streets, police involved shooting that we might be able to get to talk about next week. So tune into us next week, next Thursday at 8:10, and have a great weekend. And we will see y'all then. Mike.
You guys have a good weekend. Stay safe.
Yep. God bless you. Stay
Peace out.
calm.
Yep.